as an ex-Christian who makes content on social media, on YouTube, etc., I get the comment all the time, why do you only talk about Christianity? Why don't you talk about Islam? Why don't you talk about Judaism? It's obvious that you're just a hater, bro. You hate on Christianity, which makes Christianity true. That's a comment I get too. Since this is the only religion that you hate on, it must be true. Let's dissect that though. If I were to start talking about another religion, if I were to start talking about Islam or Judaism, does that make those religions true also? You know, there are people who do talk about those religions. There are people who have left those religions and they make content about it. And I just leave that to them. My whole thing is I speak from my experiences. I talk about Christianity because I was a Christian for a long time. I grew up being a Christian. My family and friends are Christians. 70% of the people in the United States identify as Christians. I mean, I think that number's dropping a little bit, but it's roughly 70%. So it makes sense that I would talk about the things that have affected my life the most. On your left, I don't speak on Islam because I'm not super familiar with it. I don't speak on Judaism for the same reason. Christianity has a direct impact on my life and has for a long time. I live in the United States of America. If you've been paying attention at all lately, then you've seen what the Supreme Court has been doing, aka, oh, we don't like that because it doesn't align with what we personally believe, so we're just gonna overturn it. We're gonna send what should be rights back to the states, and we'll let the states decide these things. It's not the way it should be. We're regressing. It's directly a result of Christian nationalism. In God we trust was added to our money in the 1950s. Under God was added to the Pledge of Allegiance in the 1950s, and those are things that pertain to Christianity. They're not talking about other religions. It's kind of strange because overall, the population is becoming less religious, yet the laws don't reflect that. Often when I get those comments of, why don't you talk about Islam? I'll just reply with, is that what you want? Is that what you want? Do you want me to bash other religions, as you say? The way I look at it, beliefs deserve criticism, whatever they are. And I can respect believers while at the same time criticizing their beliefs and even mocking or making fun of those beliefs, especially when they infringe upon human rights. It's not like I think that Islam is this great religion and shouldn't be touched. And it's not because I'm scared of what might happen to me if I talk about Islam. I hear that one a lot too. Bro's too scared to speak about Islam. It's not true. I've made posts about Islam before. It's just not my wheelhouse, you know? You wouldn't want Charles Barkley to be an analyst for NFL Network. I mean, maybe you would. He's pretty entertaining. But, like, you want to hear him talk about basketball, right? And I'm not saying that I'm the Charles Barkley of ex-Christians. It's just an analogy. Don't you want the people who were a little more knowledgeable about the subject to talk about the subject? Like, I say leave the former Christians to speaking about Christianity. Leave the former Muslims to speak about Islam, and so on. It just makes the most sense. It's not to say that I can never be critical of those religions, because of course I can. Especially because, you know, they're all of the Abrahamic variety. But I just kind of talk about what I know. I don't have to talk about any of it at all. That's what's funny. People will say, oh, you're an atheist. You have to talk about all religions. No, I don't. I don't have to make this content, period. I don't have to make posts. I don't have to make videos at all. I choose to. I choose to because I like to make people laugh. I like to help them heal and find community. That's the main reasons that I do this. And, you know, sometimes if people might learn a thing or two about how to respond to certain criticisms and how to address certain things, cool. I don't claim to be an expert on the subject. I just like to make people laugh and, you know, kind of help them forget about the shit sometimes. It's like they're just dying for somebody to speak about other religions because they can't handle the criticism of their own religion. They don't want to have to think about it too hard. It's like a defense mechanism, you know? Somebody says something about Christianity, they take it as a personal attack. Like I'm saying something about them personally. And so they flip it and immediately go into whataboutism. Well, why do you only talk about this religion? And then, I'll get accused of, well, it's because you really know deep down that it's the truth. And that's just a way of them just wanting to change the subject. It's a way of them, avoiding thinking about what I'm actually saying. They don't want to take the actual subject matter. They want to either make personal attacks against me or want to change the subject to something else, to say, oh, well, that religion's even worse. Why don't you talk about that one? You're a coward. I like the practice of not speaking on what you don't really know about. And so that's why I choose to not really speak on Islam, to not speak on Judaism, and to not speak on other religions. Comment down below if you can relate. Make sure to subscribe, and dog bless you. Have a good one.